Careful, don't you get running into my aeroplane with your fuel truck. Just mind the wing. Okay, yeah, you've missed me, so that's okay. So welcome to another episode of Just Flying, where I thought we might have a Japanese trip again. What the fuck? There appears to be a large ferry sailing through the airport. I'm thinking something may have gone a bit wrong here, and that this might not be a regular occurrence in real life of ships on the apron. Yeah, getting hit by a fuel truck or a large ship running into you. Yeah, I may actually choose the fuel truck. Yes, sometimes there is a glitch in the matrix and strange things happen, but I suppose it could actually be that this airfield is on reclaimed land. The ship traffic plugin I've got, it is quite old, so perhaps this ferry route was here before they built the island and the airport. No idea. But, yeah, well, never mind. I know a lot of my videos are not entirely normal flight sim kind of things, so yeah, there's a very not normal start to this one. Anyway, we're at RJBE Kobe in Japan, and the reason for being here is that it's the closest place to our destination, which will be Kansai, RJBB. We're going there because, well, back in my FS9 days, I did have some payware airfields for Japan made by a company called Overland, and I've dug them out and converted a couple of them, including Kansai. And running it through the X-plane converter, there were a few things that needed tweaking, as often does happen with the converter. But some of it, mainly the terminal, it could be better. To be fair, this is a very old scenery, so I wasn't expecting miracles. It was good for an FS9 airport, but obviously things have moved on quite a lot since then. And I'm kind of in two minds now. I mean, everything I've done has been using the free camera, so this is my first actual time flying a plane there. So we'll see what it's like from the cockpit. Yeah, I mean, this converted thing, it may have the correct shape of the buildings, but the default version, you know, it's a nice enough airport, even if it's not technically quite as accurate. So yeah, we'll see. Plus, there is my general attitude to this scenery too, as I use Japan in a slightly different way. With New Zealand, where I fly the most and where I've made lots of airport sceneries, I enjoy flying between those airfields. Now, the times when I load up Japan, it's a nice change to see different landscapes, the layouts of farms, even the square edges of islands and the reclaimed land, like this place. Now, it's visually very different to New Zealand, and when I'm here, it's a bit more about looking out the window and enjoying the journey. Where I take off and land is a little bit less important. Things like the glass on the terminal at Kansai, which you'll see when we get there. I mean, I probably could import the whole model into SketchUp and fix things, but it's just more work than I'm prepared to put in the effort for what is actually a very old FS9 scenery, which is not that great to start with. Let's go for it. Part of me does want to change this to a slow flying cob or something. So that we could follow the ferry and see what it destroys next. But no, we will go to Kansai. Yeah, but saying that about the airport and the overland sceneries in general, you know, I did enjoy them in FS9, and they were pretty good for that time. Back then there were a few free airport sceneries that I liked, a few like this one which I paid for, but it's not like there was a huge list of good ones that I had. So what I did was work out a full set of routes for various aircraft, as if it was an actual airline that was, you know, flying to and visiting these places. And random number generator, that gave me which route to fly as if I was a pilot, and that's the one I was rostered to on that particular day. It's, you know, my own little fantasy world, so to speak. Although more than that, partly boredom and partly because it was quite an interesting thing to do, I also made a full roster for the pilots of this fantasy airline as well. You know, all properly done, where people got days off, you know, sufficient rest time between their shifts, factored in ferry flights to get a pilot to the right place if that was needed, and yeah, done the whole thing. As my regular viewers will know, I don't do totally normal kind of things. So rather than make up generic names for these pilots, I name them after various entertainers, sports stars and that kind of thing. So on any particular day the roster might tell me that my co-pilot was Lemmy from Motorhead, for instance. I mean, nice enough, loved Lemmy, loved Motorhead a lot, they were a brilliant band. But I will admit it was slightly better if the random number generator gave me a flight with somebody like Debbie Harry from Blondie as my co-pilot. Yeah, I was just the ideal age when Blondie were at their height of popularity. I was a teenage boy discovering that, you know, let's just say, discovering that I now liked women for a whole new set of reasons which I didn't know about a few years before then. You know what I mean. Yeah, to be honest, it's probably Agneta, otherwise known as the blonde one from ABBA. She was probably the first, but yeah, then Debbie Harry did go on to play quite a significant part in some of my more pleasurable dreams. Probably helped that I quite like some of the stuff that the band Blondie did too. Yeah, the album Parallel Lines, that is a bit of a classic album, I think, especially the Hanging on the Telephone, which I think is a great song, still do. But yeah, so Blondie's music, I did own a few things. Also had a very large Debbie Harry poster on my bedroom wall, although the poster was slightly less to do with musical reasons. Yeah, I also had a Olivia Newton-John poster too, which was somebody I discovered when the musical film Grease came out. That just kind of set me thinking, looking back at that. It's, yeah, the majority of my teenage boy crushes were actually blonde women. But if you ask me now, I mean, okay, it's not really that important, but if you push me for an answer, I'd have to say I prefer darker hair. In my own case, I'd just prefer any hair, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, thanks, Dad. Much appreciated you passing on the baldness generic material to me. Although I am now more streamlined in the wind, Yeah, I suppose an open cockpit plane, if me and a hairy guy were to have a race, there is a good chance I would be slightly faster with less air resistance on my head. Reduced hair resistance, I suppose, could be a different way of putting it. It's also financially better too. I think having a shower, shower gel, soap, whatever, I can do my body, but then just carry on upwards. It's been years since I needed to spend extra money buying a bottle of shampoo. I suppose my dad's boldness gene, it has assisted in saving me a few pennies over the years. Anyway, there it is, Kansai. With its 2 runways which run in parallel lines, just like the title of my favourite Blondie album. Yeah, you'd think a fantastic segue like that. I was almost planning this and doing it on purpose, but yeah, trust me, I'm not. X-plane, flight planning, all that kind of thing. I do treat that with a similar care and precision of something like opening a door with a hand grenade. In fact, with New Zealand, where there's plenty of airstrips and you don't need to fly very far to find one, with pleasure flights I have there, kind of things I don't record for YouTube, there have been plenty of times where I take off and have absolutely no idea where I'm going. Just point the plane in a direction and find a place to land again when I've had enough. So as far as landing here then, there are nice bits to the scenery now, but as I mentioned earlier, it's the glass on the terminal building. That's what's putting me off. There's a bit too much work to fix it. It could be fixed, but it's way more work than I'm prepared to do for a country where, yes, I enjoy an occasional visit, but I don't do a huge amount of flying in Japan. So I'm thinking this may well get deleted and I'll just go back to using the default one for here. The shape of the buildings, they're not going to be quite the same as the real Kansai with the default X-plane scenery, but they're okay, they're in the right place, looks nice enough. And at least the default one won't have any glaringly obvious things that are going to annoy me, as I think the terminal glass will do with this overland scenery if I kept it. I had a couple of hours tweaking and it was worth a try, but knowing what we're going to look at when we land, this may well be the one and only landing at this version of the airport. There's always a possibility it looks better from the ground in the cockpit, but I have my doubts. And as it was a payware one, it's not like I'm ever going to do it up and then share it with anybody. That a proper payware scenery, that's wouldn't feel totally comfortable with my moral compass and sharing that. So no ferry traffic or other ships in sight, so we'll call that cleared to land. Let's see what we can do. Okay, reasonably smooth. All out, still in a straight line. Just move the seat up so we can look over the nose and see where we are going. I will do a replay, by the way, but we'll go and park first. Now, I've had this happen 3 times now, and one of them you may have actually saw when we landed at Raglan recently in one of my videos. I land the plane, have a look at the replay, and then when you go back to the sim, X-plane lasts for 5 or 10 seconds and then seizes up and crashes. The joys of this being a beta testing version of the sim which I'm running at the moment. Yeah, things happen. Yeah, so we will go and park first and then have a look at the replay after that. And yeah, you can see there with this glass on the terminal, it's a bit too green, a bit too shiny. It's partly see-through, but you can see some things behind the building which you shouldn't be able to see, and some things are not there which you probably should. Yeah, so it's I don't know, where's that guy going? Now, after the ship incident earlier, I'm not going to guarantee that you won't reverse into me today, so yeah, I'll wait. Okay, cool, you have stopped. Yeah, Nigel, the pushback driver, obviously isn't working this shift, so we are all okay. Although I'm going to try and hurry to get past you just in case. Yeah, and yeah, flying car in the window. Yeah, I think I'm going to just get annoyed by the bad bits of this scenery if I keep it. This will take a second or two just to buffer and reload while we drag it back. There we go. Yeah, seemed okay. No, I mean, I have always thought that, you know, centre lines, they're kind of a bit overrated, really. It's not totally an important thing. Well, nice enough touchdown anyway, so. Yeah, so welcome to FS9 Overland Kansai, which is highly likely to be going in the bin in the very near future. And heading back to the default one. It's just that, yeah, all these flashing windows here. They're fixable, but there'll be a fair bit of work to do that, and no. Oh well, that's it then. Flight done. Yeah, I'll see you again soon. Bye.